Boker Or, Masechet Nazir Daf Gimel Amud Aleph 3A1. We are by the two dots. The two dots says Hareni Kazeh. I'm going to be like this. He becomes a Nazir. Says the Gemara, right? He says, 1 second. Even if he said this when he's grabbing his hair, it's still a question. Why is he a Nazir? Hareni Kazeh Lo Amar. He didn't say I'm going to be like this, right? He didn't say anything. Hareni Kazeh, I'm like this. He's holding his hair. I'm like this. What am I like this? I'm like your hair. So fine, you're like hair. But what does it mean you're Nazir? Shmuel says the same thing. The Nazir was passing by in front of him. Fine, next. Hareni misalsel. Again, he's playing around with his hair. Right? How does it translate it there, doctor? Hair curls. He's curling his hair. Okay. Mimai, it's true. That's a silsulim. Okay. Mimai de'aden silsul sarahu. How do we know that this lashon of silsul is talking about gidul se'ar, which is growing of the hair, which is like a nazirut? So answers the Gemara, kedamra le'ahi amta dever Rabbi, lau gavra. Just like the shivcha of the house of Rabbi told a certain person, until when are you going to be curling your hair? Right? You have to remember that we learn from the shefachot of the Gdolei Ador, or from the Eved of Avraham Avinu. We learn we learn tons of things just for the speech. So if you remember, there was a Gemara, I think it was in Ketubot, that we learned from the Amte de Rebbe, from the maid servant of Rebbe, we learned from her. What does it exactly mean, the matate, and all these things, like a whole bunch of different things, just because of the wording of what she used. She went and she told somebody, until when are you going to start fooling around with your hair? You know, like curling your hair. So from there we learned, Misalsel Besara. Misalsel Besarot means, we're talking about something of a Nizirut. We're talking about like a curling of the hair. So he says, Eima Torah. 1 second. Why doesn't it say that that's the kavanah in the Torah? It says in the pasuk in Mishle, salselea utromemeka, which means that you're going to be misalsel the Torah and you're going to be meromem the Torah. So that's to do with Torah, nothing to do with the hair. Shmuel says the same thing. Shetafus b'saro, which means when you use the word salsele or salselea, right? Salsel, it could either be meaning Torah or it could be meaning your hair. And since you're already playing with your hair, if you say that language, it means obviously the hair and not the Torah. Okay? Says the Gemara, Hareni mechalkel. What does it mean now, Hareni mechalkel? Mimai dehaden kilkul se'arohu. How do we know that when you say mechalkel, I thought mechalkel chaim bechesed is a kavanah, you're giving parnasat into that. Right? Kalkala. What does it mean now all of a sudden? Mechalkel means nazirut. That you're talking about the hair again. Right? That means basically you're growing your hair like the nazirut. Kidetam, we learned in Mishnah and Shabbat. Sid, we're talking about the shiura katan to be mechayev otzaah on seed. Rabbi Yehuda omer kedei lasug kilkul. Ve'amar Rav comes and he says, what are you talking about now? Talking about bet sidah. Bet sidah is the se'ar of the hair, which is on the sides of the head. The temples, right here by the temples. Okay? So says the Gemara, Eima meizan aniyeh. Maybe the kavanah is you're going to be mefarnes anim. Ma kesher achshav, who's talking about now? The pasuk says, Vaychalkel Yosef et aviv et achav. He was mechalkel otam. He gave them parnasah. So Shmuel says the same answer. He's playing with his hair. Meaning, if you're coming and you're playing with your hair and you're using this lashon, automatically I use the terminology to do with this. I'm not going to use it for something else. Next, somebody comes and he says he's going to be l'shaleach pera. This is a nazir. This is a nazir. How do you know that the word l'shaleach means to grow? Tichtiv, as it says in the pasuk, shelachayich pardes limonim. Shelachayich is the gidulim shelcha, right? And shileshanim, they're going to be nice like pardes limonim. So says the Gemara, Eima midi de'abure, right? He comes and he says, maybe we're talking about the lashon of removing, right? Like for example, megaleach se'ar, you're removing your hair. Kichtiv v'sholeach ma'im al penei chutzot. Where do we see that pasuk? Kasholeach ma'im al penei chutzot. Right? לא, תענית. תענית, חזק וברוך. שולח מים על פני חוצות. Says the Gemara. So maybe it's talking about removing like the hair. So Tana, we learned in the Mishnah, pera yalif. It's gzera shava pera. Ketiva achad certain my nazir kadosh yegadel pera that he has to grow his hair. Uchtiva hatam, and it's written over there by the kohen idiot. Ufera lo yishalechu. What does that mean? Just like it's going to be mutar for a kohen idiot legadel se'ar 30 yom kenazir, but he cannot have a kohen idiot cannot have it for more than 30 days. So too, the lashon shiluach pera means that it's going to be gidul se'ar. That means the kohen idiot cannot have his hair longer, right, than for 30 days. Okay, that means the kohen idiot every 30 days maximum haircut. He cannot kohen idiot, with a regular kohen. Okay, or if you want, you can answer another answer. Hai sholeach mayim. Also, this pasuk of Yov, when it says sholeach mayim, nami rubuyo is also leshon gidul. The kadmashkin lemaya lepeira veraveh, because you give water to the fruits and then they grow. So therefore, you see from the fact on the pasuk in itself, sholeach mayim is also talking about sholeach means that it's growing. It's not just descending fruits; it's growing fruits. Fine. Next, harei alai tziporin. If a person comes and he says that I'm going to bring birds, Rabbi Meir says that it's a nazir, and the Chachmim says it's not a nazir. My time, Rabbi Meir, what's reasoning? Rabbi Meir he says he's referring to the tziporin which are close to the se'ar. What does that mean? It says in the pasuk, ad di sa'are knishrin reva v'tifrohi ketziporin. What does it mean? Until the se'ar of Nebuchadnezzar is going to grow like the notzot of the nisharim, like the wings of the feathers, or the feathers of the eagles, and tzipornav and tifrohi, or the tzipornaim, are going to grow like the tzipornaim of tziporim. So you see from here that since over there we brought together the two things, right, together, we're talking about basically the se'ar and the tzipornaim. So therefore we're talking about also when a person comes and he says tziporim, so therefore there the tziporim was the nails, but it's right beside the se'ar, like the eagles. So therefore, when a person comes and he says it's talking about the hair. So that a person is going to grab onto something which is close by to it, which means that a person will say something, even if the kavanah is not to that, but it's something close to it. Okay? And Chachamim, Gimel Amubet, 3b, right? Rabbanan Savri and Rabbanan are going to hold lo matpis inish b'mida de samichle. You're not going to grab onto something which is close by to it. Rabbi Yochanan comes and says, no, that's not the machloke between Rabbi Meir and Chachamim. Okay? That's not machloke between them. He says, we never bring something that's, because in a pasuk it's brought down, se'ar, and like the eagles and the tziporim to the nails, and it's brought together. So no, we don't do that. The reasoning of Rabbi Meir is, he accepted upon himself the tziporim of a nazir tameh. When a nazir becomes tameh, he has to bring the shte tziporim. He has to bring birds towards the Bet HaMikdash. So that's what he was accepting on himself. So says the Gemara, Michti Chashinan Kama. What, we're suspecting? Rabbi Yochanan says in Shitat Rabbi, we're suspecting that this is what he's accepted. You could bring a tziporim nedava. Whoever told you that tziporim nazir tameh? Maybe it's a nedava. Nedava just means a present. You could bring a bird as a present. Im ken, if so, harei alai ken. He says no. As if you wanted to accept upon yourself birds, you should have just said harei alai ken. Remember, when you say that you're going to bring a ken, the ken is the ken mefuresh of the ken satum, the nest. We're talking about the actual birds. Okay, so says the Gemara, maybe it's tziporim metzora. Maybe it's nothing to do with nazir. Maybe it's the birds of the metzora. The metzora also has to bring a birds, right? It's not only just the nazir. So he says no. The nazir was passing by in front of him. So says the Gemara, maybe he's talking about a nazir tameh. And again, you were going to exempt him the korbanot because you were going to bring them for him. So answers the Gemara, no, there was a nazir tahor which was passing by in front of you. So since it was a nazir tahor passing by in front of you, so therefore he says that's why he's going to come. So my benau, what's the difference between them? The difference between them is, for example, he says, that any tziporim which are going to be close to the se'ar is going to be unto me. According to Rabbi Yochanan, even though you said this, only if the nazir was passing by in front of you, then yes, you become a nazir. If not, there's no nazir passing by in front of you, you do not become a nazir. But according to the Shakish, even though there's no nazir in front of you, since it's barur from his words that he had kavanah to the se'ar, which is mentioned in the pasuk in Daniel for the tziporim, it's going to be enough. So that was a machlok between the Shakish and Rabbi Yochanan. So ask the Gemara, is there going to be that a person is going to say he's not going to be toled dvarav in something which is in the pasuk? But we learned in a Braita, Omer Yamin, harezu shvia. If you just mention the word Yamin, it's a shavua. My time, what's the reasoning? Lamishum dichtiv is not because it's written vayarim yimino smolo la shemaim v'yishava b'chaya olam, right? Which means that we learned the lashon of Yamin, which is brought to do with shavua. It says he's going to uphold his right hand, usmolo la shemaim, and his left hand to the shemaim, v'yishava. And he's going to swear, right? So therefore, you see from here the fact that it's written Yamin already means Shavua. So Amri said, no, Yamin gufe ikru Shavua, because Yamin itself is already called a Shavua. The Tanya was learned in the Braita. How do you know Yamin means a Shavua? Hashem is going to come and swear with his right hand. Nishba Hashem bimino. Okay? So the fact that it says Nishba Hashem Bimino, that in itself is already that Lashon of Shavua, Shneimaru Vizrua Uzo, which is going to be the left hand. So you see from here that in itself is already called a Shavua. We're just going to do the Mishnah. Areni Nazir Mina Chartzanim, Mina Zagim, Umina Tiglachat. If a person comes, is going to become a Nazir. Now remember, to do in Nazirut, there's a few different aspects of Nazirut. There's Tamemet, there's Giluah Charosh, you're not allowed to cut your hair, and there's drinking wine or anything to do with wine. So now we're going to do with the concept of the chelek of the wine and all those things. So Areni Nazir Mina Chatzanim. A person comes and he says the only Nazir from the Chatzanim or from the Zagim. So basically from the pits or from the skins, right? The outer part of the grapes. Or Mina Tiglachat. Right, to mina tuma, or that he's not going to come and he's not going to do the tiglachat, he's not going to take off the shaver's hair, or he's not going to become tamemetin. Hareze nazir, lechol diktuke nezirut alav. He becomes a nazir, and everything of nezirut falls onto him. Let's actually just do the Gemara. The Gemara says matnit lo Rabbi Shimon. Or Mishnah is obviously not like Rabbi Shimon. The Tanya was learned in the Braita. Rabbi Shimon says, Eno chayav shidor mikulam. And according to Shitat Rabbi Shimon, you only become a nazir if you make a nazirut on everything. But if you only make a partial nazirut, then you won't say, I'm not going to cut my hair. It's not nazirut. That's according to Shirat Rabbi Shimon. Rabbanan, exactly like Tanin Shal. Rabbanan come and they say, even if you're only going to make a nazirut on one of them, have a nazir. It's going to be a nazir. My time in Shimon, what's the reason in Shimon? Amakra Basuk says, it's from everything. So therefore, it comes to teach you that the isur is all one isur. It's all brought down in one pasuk. So it's all one isur, because it says anything which make from the wine, and then which is basically going to be a klal. And then it says mechartzanim v'adzag, which is a prat. So therefore, you come and you say there has to be everything in total, okay? Because chatzanim v'adzag is going to be the specifics. Rabbanan, my tamar, what's the reasoning of Rabbanan? Amarkra, the pasuk says miyayin v'shechar yazid. So what? It's extra, right? What does it teach you? That even if you could be a nazir from wine by itself, you're Nazir Gamur. So ask the Gemara, Rabbi Shimon Nami Aktiv Miyai V'Shechar Yazir. He has to teach you the Sur Yai Mitzvah Ki Yain Reshut, which means that according to him, you need this extra pasuk because it's actually coming to teach you that the Yain of Mitzvah is going to be a sur, just like Yain Reshut. Meaning, don't come to say, you know what? It's Kiddush. It's a mitzvah. It's a Shabbat. It's a mitzvah, right? Or for example, we're starting a new topic. Yeah, Siman Kuf Tzadikei, so it's a mitzvah. So now let's drink. No. Yain mitzvah is like yain reshut. Just like yain reshut is asur, so to yain mitzvah is going to be asur. So Nazir cannot do